I don't know how well this is going to go because I'm literally tethered to my phone.
Wow.
I got the broadband and the signal is so shit to this room that it's actually better to go on my phone.
It's an experience. This podcast is an experience, and we'll do it regardless of the situation every week.
So you're back?
I'm back. I'm back in London since yesterday after 5 weeks of absolute heat. I'm not going to complain too much. It's nice, but the last few days before we left, it was like 40 degrees in the shade, So
Oh my god, that's crazy.
I'm not about that life.
How much sunburn did you get?
Oh, not so much, to be honest. I played. Do you know this game from that kids series?
From Bluey.
The kids watch Bluey. There's an episode about Shadowland.
Yeah.
The Shadowland game. So I played Shadowland for 5 weeks. That was me.
That's nice.
It was all good. But yeah, we managed to release an episode every week. The pod is still alive. Just slightly a bit more slower in August. We haven't been, as aggressive in growing it as we were in June and July, which is fine. It's August. But September is lurking and we'll come back strong. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a busy August for us personally and professionally as well.
Yeah. Lots have happened. Yeah. We survived August with everything that happened in our personal lives, good and bad. I think we can survive anything now. So
yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Next is Christmas.
Yeah. We just need a lot of episodes in advance, basically. That's what we need to do. All right. Is our guest waiting in the lobby yet? Okay, cool. Hey,
Seb. I'm happy to see that you got a microphone there.
It's a nice mic.
Check mic 1, 2. How you man do? I'm with the growth marketing crew.
Nice.
Love it. That could be the new intro.
How are you, Sebuh?
I'm so blessed. I'm feeling really, really good. Life is great. I've been head down, hustling, building as usual, but in particular this year, I'm very excited that I've been building like my own community that I feel like really, really passionate about. So it's like something that's really from the heart. Also, I have been 2 years in the venture capital industry. I got promoted recently to head of digital marketing for my venture fund. So I was really chuffed about that, all that
That's
hard
awesome.
work.
Congrats, man.
That's good. That's what you want to hear when you ask someone how they're doing. That's the positivity that you want. When people ask me how I'm doing, I'm like, I'm all right.
No, I'm lucky. I'm in a particularly win phase of life right now. Obviously, there's ups and downs. So I always take when the wins come, I really treasure them because I know that it means that's like another year of hustling and grinding until like the next win and the next win after that. So I'm definitely on a high this month.
Amazing. And just to check before we get into too much detail, like how do you want us to call you? Seb, Sebuh?
Seb is fine, whichever you guys want. This is a question I have been also asking myself as a personal brand. I recently changed my Instagram to Seb versus Sebuh, so I think Seb. I don't know. Seb might be easier for branding and marketing. What do you guys think? You guys are the marketing experts as well.
I like Sebuh.
Yeah, let's go with Sebuh then. Let's do it.
Seb reminds me too much of a French name. Seb.
No.
For Sébastien, it's the short for.
We got too many French people on this podcast already.
I have nothing against French people. Just for the record, I was out in Cannes a couple of months ago, and it was beautiful. The people were beautiful. South of France, first time there. Wow.
Yeah, it is great. Cool, man. So we want to get into it. There's a lot of cool things that you do. We want to touch on a lot of them. But before we do that, do you want to give us like a short intro on like who you are and what you've done so far in your career in the world of marketing?
Yes, of course. So hello to the audience as well. My name is Sebuh Mesfin. I am head of digital marketing at Notion Capital, which is Europe's leading SaaS venture capital fund. Previously to that, I was on the startup side. So I've worked with over 20 startups in the UK ecosystem, mainly seed, pre-seed, helping them grow. I've generated over £1 million in revenue using digital sort of funnels. I've worked with all sorts of companies from apps to agencies to, I guess, now I'm in a venture capital fund, which is a crazy part of the kind of journey. I'm also the co-founder of Block2Bags, which is an entrepreneurial, spirited kind of community that I've been building with my co-founder, Bejay. And then I'm also co-founder of Angel Investing School, which I've been building along with Andy Ayim for like the last three years or so. So that's a bit about me. I'm a marketing guy at the core, at my heart. I entered into the startup world marketing first. I said, this is my path. This is the path that I want to go down. And, you know, through my journey, I've kind of followed my heart. I followed my passion, and it's been an unconventional journey. I can't lie, but it's been cool.
But we're gonna touch on that as well, the unconventional journey, because I feel like we all got a lot of us marketers, especially in the digital marketing field, have kind of an unconventional way because it's been so recent in history and it's changing so fast that it kind of attracts. I think it attracts this kind of unconventional guys. But when did we get in touch the first time we started chatting? It's been when you were at Fanbytes, right?
Yeah, so I got in touch just when I was having my transition between Fanbytes and Notion Capital. So it was a period of my life. I just bought my first property as well. I remember that very clearly because I was in like our new property. We're just kind of like doing it up, and I was like, this is literally like a crossroads within my life, like leaving my previous startup industry and looking towards the future and thinking, all right, is this venture capital space somewhere that I kind of want to go into? And I remember I was getting your advice and hearing about your experiences around, you know, taking growth to like the top, the CMO type level with the startups, or sort of looking at other paths. And I went down the venture capital path, which has been it's been an absolute journey. It's been a privilege as well, to be honest.
Yeah. And how, like, what's the difference between marketing for, let's say, Fanbytes, who was it called like influencer marketing
agency? It was like it was Gen Z advertising influencer marketing agency.
TikTok focused as well, like one of the first ones in the UK really to focus on that. I think it was like very early in that to now VC marketing. Like, what can you say about those two? Like the difference that you learned?
I mean, the number one thing is that with VC, you're not really trying to get customers. You're trying to give people money rather than get money from people. So it's a completely different sort of angle, and it's a completely different sort of game. So with Fanbytes, fast-growing startup, it's all around lead gen, making sure that our sort of B2B channels were strong. So when I kind of came into Fanbytes, and funny story actually, Timo, the CEO, actually hired me on the premise of, listen, Seb, we want to dominate TikTok. This was before TikTok was blowing up, but he literally said, how would you market TikTok services to brands? Write me a funnel and let's meet in like 24 hours and show me your funnel in a prep somewhere. So that was quite interesting. So it was based off of that. I started, building out like strategies. Number one was like Google Ads. It was very much like lead gen focused and tracking the revenue. So with Notion and the venture capital industry, it's a much more softer approach to marketing, and it's all around building awareness. And with Notion Capital in particular, the issue is that one of the reasons why they kind of brought me in, and one of the reasons why I think that digital marketing, growth marketing, funnel marketing can be a strong advantage to a venture capital firm is because there's huge amounts of competition now. So there's American VC funds coming into the UK ecosystem, more competition in terms of price. Venture funds, a lot of them now have platform teams, which is the team that I sit down in, which I'm part of, which is more like the value add services. So once we invest in your company, it's within our best interest to help you grow and to help you fulfill that kind of potential. So within our platform team, we have our director of talent, and she's there to help the portfolio companies hire the right people, making sure that they get the right referrals. They know what the base benchmark salaries are for different roles and whatnot. We've brought in a couple of experts. We've got operating partners as well, who we kind of drop into certain portfolio companies. They'll act as like, the CRO, interim CRO, or they'll help like the VP of growth or someone hire the sort of replacement. And then we've got experts in residence. We recently hired a director of pricing and monetization, someone from a top pricing consultancy to create content and strategies to work within the sort of portfolio to help them, I guess, gain an unfair advantage when it comes to pricing and pricing models. And then we hired our director of research and intelligence, a guy called Dr. George Windsor from Tech Nation recently. And he's been helping us sort of write reports and thinking about like thought leadership and whatnot. So I would say at Notion, I'm very lucky. Not lucky, but I chose to work with them because they're very much about value. And to be honest, you'll find that in all the sort of parts of marketing and all the companies that I've been at, it's very much been like value-based marketing. It's not just like take. It's what can I give you first before I can start collecting your information, your data, and starting to sort of build a relationship with you. So at Notion, it's very much about laying out breadcrumbs in the startup ecosystem. We want the best founders across Europe, the best software founders across Europe to know about us. We want them to not just only know about us, but when we come in with a timesheet, we want them to understand the value that we offer. And my job essentially is to make it easier for the investment team to kind of win those deals through the value that we put out in the ecosystem.
Do you get involved at all in helping the portfolio companies with their marketing, or is that separate with other people?
So yes, the answer is yes. Initially, when I first came in, my core focus was to help Notion essentially like set up a marketing engine and attract founders, but also attract investors. But as I've worked with them more closely, I have been working with our portfolio. There's a really, really cool fintech company actually called Bound, who I've been working with recently. They do like FX hedging, that kind of thing. So it's quite fun because with them, I work a bit more deeply. I meet their marketing sort of manager, do a bit of coaching, help him out on strategies. But with a lot of the other sort of founders, actually, we've got like a pre-seed and seed fund called the Pioneers Fund. And that for me is like my sweet spot. That's where all like the AI startups are, the NFT guys, all like the really early guys. So with those guys, what I tend to do is I tend to drop in, give them like a call. So I've got a couple calls lined up next week around helping them like establish some sort of like a marketing strategy, or how do I build my newsletter, or how do I set up Google Ads. So I tend to work with the portfolio, some companies a bit more deeply and other companies more lighter touch coaching sort of stuff.
You said about building the kind of marketing engine for Notion or for like a VC company. Seems like a really interesting and difficult thing to do, right? Because if you're thinking about like a target audience and it is someone who's setting up a company or like a founder that's completely under the radar, there's a tough person to find, right? So what is it? What does, you might not want to give away like the whole strategy, but kind of how do you approach that, and how do you think about finding those kind of people through marketing?
One word: LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has been an interesting channel for me. In all of my other previous sort of companies I've been at and roles I've been, it's always been a secondary or a tertiary channel. Like my main strongest channels have usually been like Google and like Meta, I would say. So when I came to Notion, I instantly knew through my time of working with founders, I'm particularly keen whenever I come and work in a startup to work underneath the CEO or the founder to be able to learn as much from them. So I kind of knew how founders operate, and I know that most founders are on LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn, what are you doing, really and truly? That's where all the money is. That's where all the VC funds are. That's where all of the talent is. So I instantly knew like there probably isn't, like we were active on Twitter and LinkedIn, but I said, cool, LinkedIn is going to be like the channel that I really focus my energy and efforts into. So what I've started to do is I built like an organic content engine leveraging our experts in residence. So I'd get them to write. It started off with just articles and blog posts and that kind of thing, but we've developed the content strategy to encapsulate now webinars, PDF guides. So it's like a podcast. It's like a multitude of different sort of formats, and sometimes I bundle them together into like what I like to call resource packs, where it's like, hey, just click this button and I'll send you everything you need around customer success, including webinars, PDF guides, and that kind of thing. So with that, I combined it with LinkedIn sponsored posts. And essentially what I've done is I've built the organic engine, and what I do is I kind of I try to understand from the investors who our target companies are. We've got some great technology that the team have built within Notion, which kind of identifies all of the startups in Europe. Actually, it plugs into different sources and identifies. It's like a massive machine learning database which surfaces like the startups that are growing the fastest based on signals and whatnot. I don't want to give too much of it away, but essentially I have this list of target companies, right? So my job is to really and truly like, how can I attack them digitally and make sure that they know about Notion, that they've heard about us, that they've got value from us, like whilst they're speaking to us or before that they've even spoken to us. So for me, it's that combination of having a valuable or value-based content engine, and then also having like a list or a database to be able to leverage, and importing that into LinkedIn, and, you know, building custom audiences and whatnot. So the ads are very targeted, but at the same time, they're not super in your face. Like I know founders, I know that they don't have time for BS. Like they're trying to build their startup. So if you're coming and you're approaching them, it better be with something of value. Otherwise, they're going to be like, who is this VC? What are they trying to do? Like, we don't have time for this. So, yeah.
That's cool. And do you know already like what type of content works the best in attracting the right funders for you? The reason why I'm asking this is because the best example I can think of right now in terms of content from a VC to potentially like attract like deal, you call it deal flow, right? Like
deal flow, exactly. Yeah.
It'll be 20 VC, right? What's his name?
Harry Stebbings.
Harry Stebbings, there you go.
Yeah.
He's got like probably the most popular VC podcast in the world right now. Like he's getting like crazy numbers. And I'm thinking like like if I were working at a VC, I'll probably like do something similar and just get the founders you want as a guest, and then eventually they'll feel flattered maybe or something, and then they'll accept you in their first round or their seed round or whatever. Like what do you think of that? Like what do you know what's working right now, and then what do you think of like the podcasting angle? And
okay, so shout out Harry Stebbings. Harry Stebbings walked so people like me could run, and he's done an amazing job in raising a fund of over 100 million just based off of that podcast. So shout out Harry, he's a legend for doing that. What I can say is we've had a podcast at Notion for 3 years before I got there, and I don't know if it was doing what it was supposed to do. Like that. Having a podcast is one thing. Distribution is another thing. So
totally.
That was one of the big issues that a lot of the partners were telling me when I came in. They're like, Seb, we've got this amazing podcast that I've shot with this founder, but like no one's listening to it or no one's reading my article. And I'm like, what do you expect? We've only posted this one time and it's like on a feed that's going to disappear. So for me, I identified like the key issue for them was more distribution. So you can have a podcast, whether founders are listening to it or not, that's another story. And to be honest, right now, like I have my own podcast and I know we're doing a podcast, but I think in the founder space, it's starting to get a bit saturated, in my personal opinion. It's cool. I think it's dope, but I think you have to come with a really cool angle nowadays.
Yeah.
Maybe get the founders to do the podcast in like an ice bar. I don't know, something crazy like that. But for me, it's the podcasts are good, but I see it as part of a content engine, something that you can use. So with our podcast, I initially started like clipping up parts of the podcast, posting them. But really and truly, I moved on to video, and I think actually one of the key things in taking our strategy and taking our awareness to the next level is how can we get to the hearts of founders? Because what I've done up until now is I've got to the brains and the minds. Here's value-based stuff, and when you asked about what content works the best, we have stuff like written by, for example, one of our experts in residence is called Harrison Rose. He's like the co-founder of Paddle. He's a sick sales guy. He is just phenomenal guy. And what he does is he'll do like a framework for how to do outbound email messaging in 2023. And he'll do like a step-by-step guide. And he'll even show you examples of how he's been doing outbound emailing, how he uses like lead scoring and this and that to make sure that you're reaching your target audience. And I think like really practical stuff like that, founders find very useful when it's like, here's how we've done it. It's coming from someone that's done it before. Paddle has already scaled to become a unicorn. Like, this is like a serious guy who's done some serious stuff. And he's literally breaking it down for you and giving you the source. So I think founders like that kind of content from what I've seen, like how-tos, you know?
Yeah.
So I think, but like the real nitty gritty, like growth hacking, sales, the how-tos that will actually get you results.
Yeah, that makes sense. And leveraging those guys to get more of them, the other founders like them, to join you.
But on your point, you're right. Like the biggest form of us winning is founder referenceability and referability. The way we win most of our deals and how we want to win most of our deal flow is we want our founders to be referring other founders. Like we want to do such a good job that you're referring your founder friends to us and you think Notion is so awesome. And then we see this all the time in the surveys that we put out once we've invested. The founders really like us. They're like, can I recommend my friend to you? Can I recommend this person to you? And when some people get investment, they're like, we heard about Notion from one of our founder friends that you guys were like the best in SaaS and you guys are focused on SaaS and B2B. So I think it speaks volumes actually, the fact that at Notion, we're not a generalist fund. We're very much focused on a certain type of audience and a certain type of founder, which is why I can't do Instagram and TikTok like that. As much as I wanted to use Instagram and TikTok and those kind of channels, I do know like the audience that we're going after, these are very serious founders. It's very much B2B. They're trying to scale, or B2B2C. They're trying to scale towards enterprise at some point. They have the opportunity and the potential to scale really, really fast as well if they hit the right notes. So for me, it's about that. But as I said, I really like our early stage portfolio, like our Series A and above, like our venture fund portfolio. You've got guys like Go Cardless, Paddle, ULife. It's a lot around like fintech, insurtech, that kind of stuff. But
I know these guys.
Our pre-seed stuff, it's really fun people. But we invested a smaller check, and to be fair, I've had a lot of fun actually with the pre-seed guys. For example, building an onboarding system, like a really cool and fun onboarding system, because I think it's all about experience. For me, it's like when a founder gets investment from Notion, they need to be onboarded straight away. Like they need to have a great onboarding experience. So what I tend to do is I send them an email straight away. I'm like, hey, welcome to the family. My name is Seb. Here's a bit about my story. Here are 5 steps to help you unlock value. Sign up for our founder newsletter.
Yeah.
Add yourself to our founder directory where you can get intros to other founders. Join our peer-to-peer community group. And then join our call. I do like onboarding calls every 6 weeks or so where I gather all of our new investments onto one call. I get them to talk to each other to form some sort of like a community, and I just run them through, here's the events coming up, here's this and that. And a lot of the times it's something like doing the onboard. It's not complicated. It's a very small thing that some people might overlook because they're like, hey, the founder has signed the term sheet. What more do we need to do? We've already won. But for me, it's about making sure you ingrain a very positive experience from the get-go. It's easiest done. It's easiest and most impactful when it's like right away. And to sort of maintain that sense of sort of love and kind of closeness, but in a scalable way, because with our pre-seed and seed investments, it's like volume. It's a volume game, right? And that's one of the reasons why they brought me in, because it's like, hey, Seb, we're not just doing 10 investments a year or 1 or 2 a month. We're going to start doing 100 with our pre-seed and seed sort of strategy. How can we find a way to use digital funnels, digital marketing, digital tools to kind of scale that sort of engagement and get that kind of founder love from them?
That's founders likes to hang out with other founders. So I think it links to what one topic we wanted to touch on, which is building offline and online communities for B2B. I guess that's onboarding and the things that you mentioned, events and being part of like the directories and things like that. Is there anything else that you do right now to like foster community online and offline?
So I've always been an online guy. I came in digital. I said, if it's not digital, I don't even want to know about it. But I've been kind of proved a bit wrong. After COVID happened and everything, I realized that there's actually a real space and real advantage if you can tap into real life communities and build them around authentic experiences that people enjoy. It's actually become very, very valuable if done in the right way. So for me, with a good example of this is with Angel Investing School, for example. It started off as an online sort of business because of COVID. Actually, we wanted to start offline first, but because of COVID, we pivoted to an online school. But one of the things we started doing within the last year is we started doing like monthly socials where we gather people together. We signed up for a space called Dream Factory where they help us produce content. But not only that, like we did content, but we wanted a space to bring our community and more people who are interested in angel investing together. And I made it my mission last year. I was like, you know what? I need to get my events game up. I want to have a couple of events under my belt over the course of 2023. Coming from a place where I'd never really organized events. So I embarked on this journey where me and the founder, Andy, were like, okay, cool. Let's try to set up like a small social first in Jan, Feb, and try to continue it on. So we set that up and seeing the response we got from doing a monthly social for the Angel Investing School community, not just people that have signed up and have done the course, but for other people that are interested, founders. When I saw the energy in that room, the way we'd structure it is we'll do like mini TED Talks in the beginning. We wouldn't force it though. We realized people just want to connect with people. They just want to vibe in nice spaces and they just kind of want to find their tribe. So if you can like facilitate that, then I think it's definitely an advantage. So coming off of that, I saw the power of events with Angel Investing School, and I thought, okay, with my other community, Block2Bags, how can I take events to the next level? So with the Block2Bags community, the way I see it is I want to define a new language for business, how you do events, how you do community, how you do content, how you do campaigns, because I feel even B2B and business is changing now, you know. Gen Z, millennials, they're looking past the brand. They want to hear from the CEO, the founder. Like, they want to see the face. They don't just want to see a guy behind a brand. They actually want to know, okay, what's your story? Are you a family man? What challenges have you gone through? Like, tell me, like, I want to know about you. And people right now are just so fascinated with other people. We see that in people like Elon Musk. He's one of like the biggest celebrity entrepreneurs. And at Fanbytes, we used to write case studies around fandom and how these people are starting to build these sort of like audiences. So, and with Block2Bags, we thought, let's just do the craziest events that we possibly can and do them in like a completely different way. So our first event for Block2Bags was a yacht party in Cannes, which for Cannes Lions, which is a crazy way to just announce ourselves.
How did you pull that off as a first event? How did you do that?
I'm gonna tell you, we did that through networking, partnerships, and just constantly trying and just putting ideas out there. So before Cannes Lions, we said Cannes Lions is a space that we really want to infiltrate and bring a diverse community from the UK to experience that. I'm in the world of VC, but I've also been in the world of media and agency and marketing, and I think it's a very relevant space that a lot of people may not have the confidence to think, let me go to Cannes or Cannes Lion, because I've always known about Cannes Lion, but until I met my co-founder for Block2Bags, I never really had the confidence to be like, let's just go and check it out. Even if I'm not invited, even if I didn't spend $3,000 on a ticket, which is ridiculous, but it's like, what can we do when we're out there? So what we like to do is we operated in the fringes. That's how we like to operate, right? So we essentially started chatting to partners. We partnered up with a company called Word on the Curb, who are like a fantastic agency. They do videos, they do insights, and we've built like a really cool relationship with them. And then essentially we started chatting to a guy that owns yachts, and we sold him onto our vision. We were like, would you want some of the most some rising talent from the UK and European industries to mingle and kind of be on your boat? And a lot of people that went to the event said it was the best event in Cannes. They said the vibe, the connections, the people, like everything was like super duper on point. And we were in the yacht opposite Gary V's yacht, and I could see Gary V. When we were doing our event, I could see Gary V looking at our yacht, and in fact, some girls from our yacht actually managed to get onto his yacht as well whilst we were doing our event, and they got to mingle and chat with him and stuff like that. So that was like a beautiful thing that can happen in places like that. And for a lot of people, it was their first time on a yacht. Even me, my first time on a yacht. But imagine that you're on a yacht. You're networking with founders, agency owners, influencers, creators, old, young, experienced, inexperienced. There was people that had exited their companies literally that same week. There was people that were building their companies. So it was just like it was a great moment. It was a great way to do things, and we're definitely looking to be out there again next year and go out with even more people.
Did you do that all like on the, like you said, like on the fringes of the event? So like you just set up everything by yourself. Yes. What did you do on the boat? Did you like record an episode? And also, can you tell us what is Block2Bags?
Yes.
For those who don't know, and then get into more like details on that.
Of course. So right now, for what you see, Block2Bags is it's a media and community sort of business where we are redefining what it means to be a founder, a creator, an investor, and an operator. We're trying to build formats and programming for the next generation of people in these kind of spaces. People that want to know, how do I get into venture capital? How do I become a founder? How do I build a website? We felt that there was a huge untapped space, especially in the UK and Europe, where there isn't that much entrepreneurial content, in my opinion, that is sort of blended with culture and coolness and makes it palatable to a wider audience. Yeah. My whole thing is that I want everyone to be an entrepreneur. I want everyone to be exposed to the same tools, information, knowledge, and network that I had, because I know that was pivotal in me becoming who I am. And I feel like as we're sort of going into like 2023, 2024, post COVID. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there's a whole bunch of people that want to be entrepreneurs now. All of my younger cousins, the younger generation, like they're flipping trainers, they're finding stuff on eBay and reselling it. They're starting clip agencies and clipping up podcasts and whatnot. And there's just like a fire and a spirit that I see with this next generation of people. You can see it on TikTok. If you plug into TikTok, you'll see this kind of content. And I thought, me and my co-founder, we've always been into entrepreneurship. We're obsessed. We consume a lot of content from America. I've been big into podcasts for a long time, but I was just waiting for the right partner to do it with. And when I met my partner, Bejay, and we formed a relationship. We didn't do it straight away. We formed a relationship, a friendship for a couple of years, and we went on a retreat together actually that he organized. And from that point on, we're like, we want to do something in the media space to help people become better entrepreneurs, operators, investors, and creators. So what we've gone and done is we've built essentially like a podcast. It has a video. We're active on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, Instagram. We first started releasing, once a month. Now we're dropping weekly episodes, and we're building out different sort of format. So later on today, I'm going to shoot a show called Money Matrix, where I deep dive more into like fintech, finance. We're probably going to talk about stocks. So I'm going to do a deep dive episode on stocks. So, who created the stock market? How do you invest £100 in stocks? Like, how do you actually get started? So for me, it's about breaking down that sort of information and like democratizing it and making it like easily accessible. Not just through long form content, like reels and clips, and hitting the audience where they're at, because you can have your stuff on YouTube, but you also need to be able to clip it up and get those 30-second bang kind of moments that get people interested in what you're kind of saying. And from what I can see in the kind of space, there isn't, especially many people like me that are kind of doing this kind of thing. So for us, we saw that kind of opportunity, and we've been building up that sort of media, I guess, brand. But on top of that, we've been building an offline community as well, where we're hosting these events. We do dinners. We do loads of like secret things that people talk about. If you know, you kind of know. If you don't, then maybe you might find out in a couple of months or a year. But in Cannes, for example, we didn't openly advertise the yacht party. We want to build a core community of people that are real G's, OGs. And we found that after we left, a lot of people were talking about the yacht party. People that didn't even know, like they'd heard about it through a friend of a friend of a friend. So I think there's also a bit of magic in that sort of offline word of mouth sort of, especially in an age that's saturated by digital. And I'm a digital marketer, isn't it? Like, don't get me wrong. So I think there's something in that. And of course, for Notion, we do events all the time. We've got a Pioneers Day. We've got our founder retreats. We leverage offline and online. And some of the interesting formats that I've been really enjoying are dinners, private dinners. We'll do a dinner on mergers and acquisitions and exits, getting the founders to really think about, okay, if I'm not going to IPO, or if the market is not ready for IPO, what are my other options for exit? We put them together on the table with other founders that have been acquired and get them understanding about that kind of journey. So I'm all around exploring more of that as well as doing the online thing. So
that makes sense. And one feeds the other. Like what you're doing in Blocks2Bags is going into your learnings into what you're doing at Notion, and back and forth. So go on, Jake.
I was going to say, I love that. I think since COVID, right, and also before COVID, really, everything, as you say, is online. So you get invited to a webinar now, you don't get invited to a conference. Or you see a conference coming up, and the way we used to go to marketing conferences like 5, 6, 7 years ago, now you see it like, oh, that looks good, and it's online. You're like, oh no, fucking online thing. And I just feel like when everything is digital, you just, I'll sign up to that, and then when it comes, I just won't bother going to it. I think people are desperate to get more of these in-person events back. So it makes sense that they're kicking off for you guys.
Yeah, honestly, if you can feed them. People just want to get out there and connect. We're done with webinars. Stop with the webinars, everyone. Like, just stop it. Unless it's a sick webinar, but like,
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. I think Jake and I have been talking about branching out to offline a few times, and I think it might happen eventually. We might do something like dinners
Yeah,
or whatever,
it has a
event
lot of
style.
impact.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
has a lot of impact. And you know what? When I think about events, like with Blocks2Bags, one of the things is we don't really ticket people for events. We don't believe in really charging people for events. I see a new model of events and working with brands and sponsors where it's like we're
Mm,
kind of co-creating an event, and not just that, through your sponsorship or whatever, we're going to produce loads of pieces of content as well that you can
mm,
leverage in your brand strategy and raising awareness of, you know, working with certain communities or being involved with certain types of founders, or whether it's young people or people trying to break into tech or people trying to break into finance. So
yeah,
even when it comes to events and stuff like that, I think if you're going to do events and you're going to charge people, oh, hey, £15 for a ticket, come to my event, I'm not hating on it, but I think
yeah.
in 5, 10 years, it's going to be made redundant because I just see so many opportunities for different sort of models within this. It's weird because events have been done the same. I'm like, why have events just been done the same way for like the last 20 years?
It's true. It's true. What I like about events as well, especially when you have a podcast, and maybe you've done that already, but have you done like a live recording of the podcast yet with an audience?
So we had our live podcast show at Roundhouse. So we did do
Wow,
that. We created like a vlog. That one's like an audio only one, but yeah, we had like a live show. It was
that's amazing. Wow. How big is the podcast now? Like, can you share a little bit more in terms of like stats and how many episodes you've done and stuff? Like,
yeah, of
I'm
course.
curious.
So
I'm getting really curious the more you talk
yeah,
about it.
I'll tell you. So I'll break it down for you because for me, like when I first started, I said to my co-founder, this is going to be a 3 year journey. I
Mm,
do not want to stop this for the next 3 years. And like we can test and growth hack and whatnot, but the growth hack is just being in the game, being in the market
Yeah,
for
yeah.
those 3 years. Like you
yeah.
can't really get around that sort of thing. So uh, for our podcast, we've released, I would say, like 35 episodes.
Yeah.
We've released 35 episodes. We have released over 500 clips as well. On top of that, we're going hard like a machine. Yeah, we're
Mm,
going hard. So on Instagram, we're kind of doing a post every single day. We're trying to ramp up to the stage where we're releasing like a video every single day on our social media.
mm,
We've created 2 different formats slash shows within our sort of network. So Blocks2Bags, we realized, okay, if we really want to scale this, it can't just be focused on me and my co-founder, Bejay, right? So it has to be, can we bring in other hosts? Let's make it like, we quickly realized within like the first 3 months, we have to turn this into a network and try bring in other talent and build shows around them. So
mm.
we've got Money Matrix, which is around finance, money. There's another show format that we've built called The Social Update, which is with a social media consultant and someone who works with a lot of creators. She's fantastic. So she gives a bit of the angle of the world of social media, creators, that kind of thing. So far on our YouTube, we've had maybe, I think, two 200,000 views across all of our videos, but we've got like
Wow.
400 videos just on YouTube. To keep it 100% real with you, I'm not gonna really take stock of the numbers until we've done a whole
Yeah,
year
yeah,
of
yeah.
like a release. Because I told my co-founder, I said, you know what? Like, there's no point, but my approach was that let's actually, he said, okay, cool. I was obsessed with, I'm like, how are we going to grow this? How are we going to get the numbers? And he said, let's first create like 100 videos.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
first
yeah.
step, isn't it? Just actually get good at creating the content because a lot of people want it to be a short game. So for me, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, let me get really good at actually building a
Mm,
podcast engine, like something that we can release every single week. And I've created a really cool sort of system, sort of behind the scenes that leverages AI, that
yeah,
leverages a lot of different things. I work with a lot of virtual assistants. So it's a very lean sort of team. And we've been managed to do quite a lot with not that many resources or time. So I'm really proud that we've managed to like build this, and we've both got jobs, we've both got other businesses that we're kind of running and stuff like that. But it is difficult in terms of our actual community and things like that. We've got around 100 people that have signed up to our newsletter. We've had over 500 people that have signed up to our events.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been cool, and like we're just continuing to grow it really. We've got like around I would say like overall maybe like 1,000 subscribers across all channels and whatnot, 1,000 fans I'd like to call them across all channels.
Yeah.
But for me, from what I know with media, podcasts, and some of our other friends who have fast growing podcasts, like it's like a hockey stick the way I find it, isn't it? And like once you hit that growth, all the long tail content that you've been building up to that point is actually going to help propel you even further. So the way I see this is just we're just building a collection. So when we do have those big viral moments, people can go back to our channel and our network and dive into like loads of other sort of content. So the way I see it right now is like we're building webs of content. We're building webs of kind of communities as well.
Yeah, I love that. It's like I guess we can go too much in under the microscope. Me and Yo, it's like every day talking about the numbers. Like, oh, we just got like 1 more than yesterday, or 6 more than yesterday, or oh, we're down 10% on yesterday's disaster. But I feel like, have you seen the Stephen Bartlett Diary of a CEO? His podcast, like, one of the biggest in the world now, but it's like for years, it's like the listener base is nothing, and then
exactly,
it's crazy. So it's just all about putting the hard yards in and not getting disappointed.
Yeah, I think it's even more important today because you know what, people, Gen Z, this new, they don't get skin in the game and like doing something consistently for years. Everyone is so used to like quick results and things just like blowing up so fast. Like I think we've lost that sort of thought or knowledge that actually to build something quality, to build something that stands the test of time, it takes time to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I wanted to say, and what you said is it's definitely something we need to get better at is the clips. Clipping and putting it on social and all the channels that you mentioned, like Shorts, TikTok, Reels. It feels like the key distribution piece to get your main long form piece of content out there. We're making progress, but it looks like you're way ahead of us.
We're lagging behind all the young guys with that one. We're showing our age. I mean, so when you said about the people starting clips agencies, I was like, oh, shit, really? Is that a thing? And then I was like, obviously it is. And I'm looking at it now, and there's loads of them. It's amazing.
It is crazy what's out there. And to be honest, I would consider myself a zillennial. That's the term in between millennial and Gen Z, basically. So I feel like I occupy that space where I consume a lot of the same formats and culture and content that they consume. So I'm very tapped in, but I'm also very aware that, for example, I've grown up. So, for example, I was born in Kenya. I grew up with I've lived in a world without technology and mobile phones, and I can kind of see it a bit from that bird's eye view, which I think makes me in a perfect position to really build out something like this, because I'm gonna tell you this: there is a lot of fraudsters and people that talk rubbish on the internet. That is another problem, innit? Fake news, fake entrepreneurs. Like there's so much shit out there, especially on TikTok, and especially on the clips. You're gonna find them on clips and on like short form kind of content. So
that's true.
That's why I think it's ever more important to also build that long form content where people can really just like deep dive into a certain topic. So for us, like, we know the clips are important. It's important to have it at the top of your funnel and for discoverability and that kind of thing. But it's also important to have long form content that people can really dive into, because I think the world is kind of missing that. And the way content is being done right now, it's like 15-second clips, 30-second clips, like that's it, done.
Definitely. It's it's a lie that people have moved into just like only short form, like short attention span. If you give them something good, they will watch it or listen to it for a long time. I mean, YouTube videos of like 1-2 hours, podcast of 2 hours, like I find myself watching stuff that is like 2 hours long. Yes, I'll watch it in like 3-4 times because we've got a life and you have to like, you can't really sit down for that long, that often.
Yeah.
But it's not impossible. I think it's very important to like get the attention with the shorter form, but have the meaty content with actual value in it. It's very cool, very interesting.
Yeah. And you know what? There's something else to also be said about content. It's what you say, but it's also how you say it. So what I found being at the intersection of B2B tech startups at Fanbytes, for example, we used a lot of lead magnets. So I would write up a lot of guides, how to launch your first TikTok campaign and whatnot. I realized that the way you break down the information is also important for the kind of audience. Like a younger audience is not really gonna tap into like some 60-year-old dude. Like I don't think they'll even tap into Warren. I think someone like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, I think they're absolute OGs. And like you kind of have to really listen in and really be interested to break through that barrier of these ancient dudes that have like white hair and Americans. But I think there is definitely something to say to that for the younger generation. They want the content to be coming from non-boring people that have a bit of personality. They've got something about them, like they're not just wearing suits and ties, but they're wearing hats, glasses. So we do some of our episodes wearing sunglasses and shades and this and that. I'm probably going to do one today wearing shades. So I think how you present the content is also important. And my big philosophy with Blocks2Bags is to make business fun. It's to make business content like fun and enjoyable, because I know that's what it's like for me.
Yeah.
And for a lot of my friends, like it's just that we've just found our own way into it, and we've sort of built our own content, and like we kind of want to share that now with the sort of with the world, really. So yeah,
that's really cool. No, thanks for sharing. I'm looking at the time. We've been an hour already. I don't know how much time you've got.
This is my second podcast that I've ever done. Actually, the first one I don't even know if it was released, but on other people's podcasts. So this is an experience for me.
Well, thank you for spending your second time with us. You know, a funny story about we didn't give a shout, but shout Timo from Fanbytes. But the anecdote with Timo is that we met a long time ago, and he invited me to what was gonna be is like first video series. I don't know if it was a podcast, maybe it was just on YouTube. I can't remember the format exactly. And I went to Fanbytes. I was at Depop at the time, so it must have been 2018, maybe early 2019. And we spoke for an hour and a half on the couch. I went to the office, all recorded. Very nice chat. A lot of like deep dive into like marketing tactics and stuff. Very, very insightful. And like I leave. Was great. I think it was the first time we met as well. So it was like straight, like we're doing now with you, Sebuh, meeting for the first time for a podcast. And a few days later, he sent me a message saying, the recording didn't work, so we lost all the footage. So that discussion never aired out. No one heard it. No one seen it.
That would have been a dope discussion as well. I know you're both great marketing minds.
It was great. I remember I have a great memory of that discussion. But since then, we laughed about it, and then since then we kept in touch, and we're still very good friends. So that's good.
And I love his content as well. He's a great example of once he exited Fanbytes, and I guess he had a bit more time. Like he started producing his own sort of content, and it's dope. I love it.
He's all over my feeds now on TikTok, on Instagram. Like he's going in on content big time, and it looks like it's working. Like his fan base is growing, and that's great. That's awesome.
Facts. But I think definitely like there needs to be a network as well. Single entrepreneurs are cool, and I really enjoy them. But I think there needs to be like a platform or a network that's sort of just wider than just the single person. But
Yeah.
I can't lie, like shout out to Timo and all the other great entrepreneurs out there, man. Their story needs to be told, because I know that he's from the same area that I'm from, and he's inspired a lot of people from Oak Kent Road to sort
Yeah.
of think outside of the block. Because he's
Yeah.
come, bro. Literally, I used to jump on the bus, and I used to sometimes see him on the bus going to the office.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah, it's really inspirational. Like, and we need to tell these stories and get more of these sort of people out there, because they're amazing. They're amazing for the culture.
Yeah, I'm definitely down for that. I've said to you a few times that I would like us to do a few episodes or one episode looking at like different people who have made it quite far, especially like in marketing, so that's our world, right? But that didn't necessarily come into it through studying for a degree in marketing or studying. Like I didn't go to uni, I didn't get a degree, anything like that. I kind of made my way in there. You came about in a bit of a different way, and I think it'd be really inspirational for people to like be able to listen to people and just understand, especially like last week, right, with all the grades coming out and people thinking, oh fuck, my life's over, I didn't get the grades I wanted to, that you don't have to go to uni to get. And especially all this stuff we've been talking about, right, like clips and running ads on TikTok or just creating content, none of that stuff you're even going to learn on if you go and do a marketing degree. If you go to Oxford and do a marketing degree, you ain't going to learn any
You're
of
right,
that stuff.
Jake. You're right.
So I think a lot of people need to talk more about that. And maybe on that point, so maybe you could start, like, what was your kind of route into marketing, and what was your kind of early career?
Brilliant question, because I freaking studied geography at university. Completely different to marketing, nothing to do with marketing really, if you really think about it. But my route in was I did an internship at an asset management bank called Investec. And during that sort of internship, I kind of got it through a relationship that I built with someone senior within there. So, I mean, for all the people listening, relationships are very... I wish they did a course on relationships, or I wish people could go to uni or school on relationships, because that's something that's like very important. But once I got into to that sort of startup, it was... They called it a skunk work. So it was a startup within a big corporate company, and they put them in a WeWork away from all the other corporate guys, and they were like, Seb, you'll be perfect for this, come meet the team. And so through that sort of experience, I met one of my marketing mentors and OGs, a guy called Oren Greenberg. He was founder of Curve. He's like a really awesome growth marketing sort of guy. And like being able to work underneath him, I said, damn, I need to be like this guy. Like I was like, this is it. I was sold. I was like completely and utterly sold. I said, this is what I kind of want to do. So from that point onwards, after I finished my studies, I said, I'm a self-taught marketer. I pretty much taught myself everything, and I'm a big fan of teaching yourself everything for free. I don't like paying for stuff because I'm just a cheap guy and I like value, but I can hand on heart say I did not pay for any courses or anything. I pretty much did the Google AdWords certification course for free. Like today's day and age on the internet, there's so much free information out there. You can pretty much build a marketing career from just like learning. And the one thing that I did was I did a combination of doing courses, the theoretical knowledge, understand what's CPC, cost per click, what is a channel, what is this, what is that. I had a mentor. So Oren was like one of my first marketing mentors, and I would go to him and I'll be like, okay, Oren, I've learned about Google ads. What would you recommend next that you think is very helpful to startups? And then the third part of that was I implemented what I was learning in startups. So I worked with anyone that would hire me. I said, guys, I'm not a marketing guy, but I'll work for minimum wage. I'll even give you 3 days of my time as long as I can be called a marketing exec or a marketing assistant, and I can just start like trying to play around and do marketing stuff, isn't it? So I started in a one-person startup called Go Live Tests. Shout out Charlie. It's like a UX testing company. And essentially, I was doing the newsletter. I was doing a lot of like website stuff, blogs, and a lot of business development. I would go to loads of events and, try to get leads that way, which was cool. Like I think I went to over 100 sort of events, and I actually started to build a startup network and family just through going to these kind of events and like just chatting to people, and I was trying to sell them into this product, but like more times I was just connecting with like super cool people, and if you like the product, you like the product, but me and you connect and we like each other, so let's definitely like link up and keep that going. So for me, I learned all the basics of marketing, content, social media, website, and then to supplement that as well, I'm a big believer in side hustles. We at Block2Bags, we have a thing called the side hustle philosophy. And I believe that through side hustles, you get better at what you kind of want to do. And you can use side hustles as, don't just see it as a way to make money, but see it as a way to build skills and expertise in areas that might not necessarily be in front of you in your 9 to 5 sort of job. So with my side hustles, I learned how to build websites using WordPress. I got really good at WordPress, and that kind of helped get me to the next stage of clients. And after that, I just started learning how to generate revenue using Google Ads and online channels and tracking that and doing lead gen. And once I unlocked how to generate revenue for startups, I think my career kind of skyrocketed from there a little bit. And like loads of people wanted to start working with me and that kind of thing. And I've never had a formal marketing education ever in my life, actually. So
Yes, the way the best people don't, in my opinion.
That's also like one of the reasons why we do this podcast. I mean, this just being in the game, testing things that you don't necessarily have the opportunity to test in your day-to-day job because of, it's a different business, there's different restrictions, budget, resources, whatever, that you can do in that side also, whether it's related to your job or not. Like, you will learn some things that could be transferable to what you do in your day-to-day. And it opens like creativity as well, like different way of thinking, which is very, very very important. And I feel like it doesn't stop with seniority. And I think our thing with Jake is always to say that there is especially in like the new type of head of VP, CMO, like there's a new wave of people who are still very close to the doing of things, whether it's a channel or it's a side project or whatever. I think it's very important in today's day and age, especially as companies are struggling. There's less investment going into the market and teams are shrinking. Like, you need to be more of a doer and not just a thinker or just manager of people, especially if you don't have that many people to manage anymore. So very, very, very important.
Yeah, exactly. It's also the second time that Oren's got a shout out on the podcast, because we had Michael Lorenzo's on a few weeks ago, who was also at Curve. I don't know, maybe it was different times. But yeah.
Yes, Michael's my manager. Actually, funnily enough, when I first started working with Oren, he put me underneath Michael. He was like, "Yo, Seb, help Michael with whatever he needs doing." And like, Michael's an OG. He's a serious marketer. Like, so it was quite fun to actually be in a crowd of like serious marketers, because I'm a marketer as well, but I would see myself more as an entrepreneur and like reaching more wider audiences, which is why I love Oren. And he told me to niche, but I never niched. So he was like, go just focus on one. He's like, go deep on ads. He's like, be an expert. And I was like, I never did it, but now I know why, because it's a bigger play for me. And like, but I do love the marketing community. I love what Oren, what he's done was an amazing thing, because he really changed my life as well by giving me the opportunity to work in his agency and learn from some top marketers. And I can't lie to you, some of the stuff that I learned there, it went on to produce so much value for other startups. One of the big things I remember was marketing automation. I remember Oren and Curve and those guys speaking about it and doing marketing automation. And I figured out how to do automation. The next startup I went to, I was like, "Hey guys, I can do automation and this, that." They're like, "Okay, go on then." And then I was like, "Ah." So once I figured it out, it was like key sort of areas which I got really deep insights into, which I really appreciate, because it really helped to level me up. So shout out to people out there that invest in educating and leveling up talent. Like without people like Oren, you wouldn't have people like me and Michael in the kind of game. If Timo didn't give me an opportunity to do what I did, I wouldn't have been able to be as great as I am or shine as bright as I am. So I have a real place in my heart for leaders that really nurture talent and give them the opportunity. Like Timo was like, spend as much as you need. If it's working, do it, double it. Like let's go. He was like, let's freaking go. And I'm like, that taught me like such a lot about like growth and growth marketing. So yeah, a big shout out to those kind of people as well in the community.
Nice. Amazing. Well, that's a great way to end this episode, Seb. That was awesome.
Thank you very much.
And what can we tell people to do to find you, to like help you with the project you're involved with and Blocks2Bags, etc. Like tell us a little bit so the people listening can reach out.
So, definitely connect with me on LinkedIn, Sebuh Mesfin, Sebuh Mesfin. Check out Blocks2Bags, BLOCKS 2 bags.com. We're on YouTube, TikTok, all the social media channels. Angel Investing School, same on all social channels. We've just launched our September cohort. So if you want to learn how to angel invest, sign up for that. And yeah, just find me and like, let's connect. I'm all about connecting and chatting with people and really like, I'm a human, you're a human. If you're a cool human, we can be cool humans together. It doesn't matter if we work or do stuff, innit? So that's the vibe that I'm on.
That's a good vibe.
Love it.
I like that
cool.
vibe.
Man, how do you have time for all this stuff?
Oh, I question myself as well sometimes. I'm very efficient. My life is time boxed in 30-minute boxes that I tick off every single day.
All right, Sebuh.
Awesome. Blessings, guys. Thank you for having me on.
Nice one, man. It was fantastic. Thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed your second podcast.
This is dope. Hopefully it actually makes it out there because the first one didn't. So yes, I will be enjoying it. And you know what? I get to reconnect with my marketing. Hopefully loads of marketers will add me and invite me to their community. And hopefully I can go to you guys' events. Hopefully you guys can do an event soon and we can pull up. I'll definitely get people from my community to come through as well. So let me know.
That. Yeah, let's share. Definitely. That's awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely try and do something before Christmas. Cool.
I'm wicked.
Amazing.
Take care, guys. Blessings, peace. Bye.
See you soon, man.
Yeah.
Energy. Wish I had that much energy.
Yeah.
Now we've all that talk about recordings getting lost. He might be the first person that didn't leave it to go to 100%.
Can you imagine? Can you check what we're talking?
I can only see it once we end the call. Maybe we should leave it really quickly and just make sure.
Because my one is 71%, so I need to leave it for like 3 hours until it finishes.
Mine's 55%. It's going to cost me about £800 of mobile data to get it to get it onto cloud. Actually, shit. What if my phone disconnects on my laptop in the next half an hour? I'm fucked.